I've been getting tons of questions about improving overhead shoulder mobility, so I pulled this segment straight from the TrickStrong RX app. It goes through 4 ways to release your lats so that you can have more of that mobility and enjoy your movement. So let us know if this helps and we'll keep posting more. IASTM techniques for the lats. So IASTM stands for Instrument Assisted Soft Tissue Mobilization. It's a mouthful, but it really just means that we're using tools to help mobilize the soft tissue of our lat. The lat goes from here all the way to your back. It's a huge muscle, it goes all the way from your shoulder to your lumbar spine, and it is involved in pulling motion, so it's going to be shortened in these pulling and internal rotation positions, and it gets lengthened when we go overhead. So if it's too tight, overhead positions will be difficult for you and you'll feel limitation in your shoulder, or maybe even your mid back or your lower back, because if it's compromised, it spans that whole region. So the first tool we really like to use is hanging. You might have seen this in some other videos, but we're gonna go over the dead hang. I want you to find a bar or rings, etc., and we're gonna go right to it. So I like the rings here. Kind of allows you to be in different positions, so you can rotate however you naturally sit, right? So versus a bar kind of locks you into one position. So with the rings, I'm just hanging here, getting some decompression through my entire body, which is awesome. But also with the dead hang, we want to be engaged in the shoulder blades. So we want to bring our shoulder blades down and back. So notice the angle in my shoulder is not really changing. We want this to be open because that's what's gonna stretch the lat. But that being said, we can engage our shoulder blades down and back so that we're protecting our shoulder while we're hanging in this position. And we're also gonna be strengthening our shoulder as well. Strengthening your shoulder, strengthening your posture, your grip, you're decompressing your spine. It is an awesome thing to do. If there's no pain with it, I would do it daily. And if there is pain with it, I would build up tolerance to be able to do it daily. But I typically recommend about 5 sets of this if you're training it. Maybe if you're doing some mobility, you can go a little bit less, but if you're really trying to gain flexibility overhead, then I would really do these a lot. And the whole time's gonna depend on your grip strength and a lot of other factors, but I like you to get to 20 to 30 seconds at 5 sets. The next tool in our arsenal is a foam roller. Humor me real quick. Just shake it out and look down at your hands. And where are your palms pointing? If they're pointing toward your body, then that kind of tells you that we're resting in that internally rotated position. I'm not exempt, I'm just showing you that, I've seen people more here too, which is obviously even tighter, right? So you have your pecs and your lats, very powerful internal rotators. If those are tight, you're gonna be limited in overhead mobility. You're gonna kind of be stuck in this rolled position, as we often find ourselves in, typing, driving, eating, etc. We tend to be here, so it makes sense in our training to do things where we open and where we are standing against gravity and pulling, because so much of our life is pushing and reaching. So pulling is a very, very good thing to be doing. But other than that, we can work on the soft tissue to help make the overhead mobility a little bit easier. So with the foam roller, we're gonna just lay on our side. We're gonna do this one side at a time. And I actually have a nice stretch to show with the foam roller as well. I'll show that after this. But for the release, you're going to go right in your armpit, the backside kind of. And you could play like, maybe it's a little bit on the backside, maybe it's straight on, maybe it's a little bit more forward, up to you. But I find if I'm here, I get it the most. And we're starting with movement. So we're starting with sweeps to really open up that lat. And it might be difficult to get the whole span of the lat because it's your whole body. So maybe you work on the first third for a bit, do some sweeps there. Then you can move the foam roller down, go that middle third. Now you're gonna be more on the back, because if you're directly on your side, now you're gonna be on your ribs. So I'm kind of going towards my back, but it's really still feeling that lat. I can really follow it all the way down. And then just, go all the way down until you've reached the end, where it ends right at the lower back here. It goes into the thoracolumbar fascia. So you really want to get all the portions that are affecting you. I'm not really getting much tightness here, and I find that most people are gonna get it in this first third. So after I've done my general sweeps, now I can just pick a spot. For me, it's right there, and just spend some time here, waiting for it to reduce. So maybe my tightness or pain scale, it shouldn't feel sharp. It should feel like kind of dull, just dull, massagey type sore pain. I really don't want it to get to like a 7, 8, 9, 10. These are really high, and it's gonna ramp up your sympathetic nervous system. It's not gonna allow you to fully relax and for those muscles to let go. So you wanna be hanging around like 4 or 5. And so over time, that should reduce, and it already has in just the span of me talking. Now it's about like a 1 or 2, honestly. So now I can add some movement to further intensify it. And when I say movement, before we were just moving over the muscle, now we want the muscle to move. So you can do several things to do that. The easiest one is just gonna be internal and external rotation. So we're stretching it. Right now we're shortening it because it's an internal rotator, and then now we're lengthening it, we're stretching it. So we're pinning that down, that one part of the tissue that's really tight, and then we're bringing it through a full range of motion. This is basically a local stretch. So we're stretching out here. This is a stretch that we're normally used to, moving our joints, and then the muscles get stretched. But also through massage, we're stretching right at that point because the tissue under the foam roller is getting lengthened. And then lastly, you could do overhead reaches as well. That's a good one too. And then you could just do, 7, 8, 10 reps, spend some time until the pain reduces. And lastly, for the stretch I was talking about, this is the active lat stretch. You might have seen this elsewhere on the app, but you're going to be in this child's pose position. The reason we want to be here is because if we arch, we're actually shortening the lat. So we want max length in the lat. Now we're going to reach forward. And I'm actually turning my palms out. We're getting that external rotation. So now we're going for max length. So I'm palms up as much as I can. Maybe some of you are here. It's hard to get to. Over time, you'll get flatter and flatter, more parallel with the foam roller. So thumbs pointing out. And now here's the really hard part. This is called the active lat stretch. This would be passive, right? We're just chilling. So the active lat stretch comes in where you're trying to pull your arms up towards the ceiling. And so I'm actively trying to pull my arms. I'm trying to lift my arm like this. But since I'm at my end range, I'm not able to. But that activation in and of itself is going to strengthen your mid-back and going to allow more mobility over time. And with that, you could do sets of maybe 5 to 10 reps, and then you can do 10-second holds for that last active lat stretch. So yeah, we're just chilling. 30, 60 seconds, let it loosen before we add some movement. Sometimes I find if you go straight into the movement, it's a little bit aggressive and the muscles kind of fight you. So if you can just spend an extra minute to just let your nervous system and your muscles get used to the fact that there's gonna be pressure and pain there, I find that the rest goes pretty well. So that's been somewhat enough time for me. It's reduced a little bit. So now I'm gonna bend my arm and we're doing that same thing, internal and external rotation. Making sure you're kind of at that armpit crease. So with the pec, that forms the front of your armpit, and the lats kind of form the back of your armpit. So trying to get that muscle involved in there, and then you can do, basically you wanna do at least a minute, but I would say enough reps for it to reduce considerably. So if I started at a 5 out of 10, I would want it to get to like at least a 3. I want some improvement. Sometimes when you don't do it long enough, maybe you only do like 5 of these and then quickly go train or something like that. I find that it just aggravates the area and it doesn't actually allow enough time for the muscles to get mobile and for the nervous system to calm down that muscle. So give it the time it needs, which is only about 2 to 3 minutes per spot, per muscle. It doesn't really take much time, but giving it that little extra minute will really help improve the mobility and the comfort. I wouldn't spend 10, 20 minutes on one area. That's a little bit of excessive and you're honestly wasting your time. I'd rather you do it more frequently for shorter durations. Last tool I wanted to show you is a massage gun. So if you have one, it's awesome to use on the lat because you can pretty much reach all of it with pretty little effort. So you can get from origin all the way down there. If you're having some issues, maybe you can get a friend, but really it's accessible to most people. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. You can do your general sweeps there, up and down. Then you can pick a few spots, tends to be up in this region like we talked about. You spend 30 to 60 seconds there, and then you're gonna do your overhead movements. Your internal, external rotation, you have overhead reaches. You just play with it, see what angles are bothering you. And then lastly, I really like to sit and support my shoulder if I'm available, if I can, if I have the position to do that. If I'm not in the middle of a gym session, basically. So now we're sitting down and our shoulder's supported, so now we don't have to hold it up so much. So now I can relax a little bit more. And then when you're sitting, you can kind of get it through the front since it's relaxed and get the lat that way. You can get it from the side through the insertion here, and then just play around with the different movements that we talked about today and enjoy your renewed overhead mobility. And the last thing you want to do is just do these things and not strengthen in the new range. So we have tons of mobility workouts on the app in the Mobility RX section. I would check the shoulder section out. I would also check the CARS tutorials and workouts out as well. They're really gonna help you build strength through the full range of motion so you actually keep that range, because as we know, with these techniques, they're pretty temporary. You might have a window of maybe an hour or two where you have more of that mobility and then it's gonna kind of return. So this is a tool to calm down your nervous system so that your arm can move a little bit more, right? But then now you have to teach it how to use that new range. So make sure you're doing that, guys, and then you'll get long-lasting mobility.